Deep beneath the earth, in a forgotten mining town, there lies something ancient, something that was never meant to be disturbed. When a team of explorers and scientists descends into the abandoned tunnels, they unknowingly awaken a presence that has been waiting, feeding, and growing for centuries. The deeper they go, the louder the wailing becomes, a sound that pierces the soul and drives men to madness. Now, trapped miles below the surface, they must uncover the truth behind the Wailing Core before it consumes them all. The town of Harrowvale, once a bustling mining community, now stands abandoned, its streets lined with crumbling buildings and rusting machinery. The air is thick with the scent of decay, and the silence is oppressive. Legends of the mine's eerie history have kept outsiders away, but Dr. Eleanor Grayson and her team of researchers have come seeking answers. Reports of unusual seismic activity have piqued their interest, and they are determined to uncover the truth buried beneath the town's surface. The descent. The team, comprising geologists, archaeologists, and technical experts, sets up camp near the mine's entrance. The initial descent into the mine is cautious. Their headlamps cast eerie shadows along the damp tunnel walls, and the cold air carries a strange resonance. The deeper they go, the more they sense an unnatural stillness, as if the mine itself is holding its breath. As they progress, they find remnants of the past, rusted tools, broken lanterns, and even a miner's helmet still bearing a faint bloodstain. It is as if the workers left in a hurry, abandoning everything. Then they hear it. The first faint whisper, a distant sound that seems like the wind at first but soon takes on a more sinister tone. Unearthing the past, Dr. Grayson and her team find a small chamber where they uncover old miners' journals. The pages are brittle, covered in frantic scribbles warning about the wailing below. One entry describes a team of workers who drilled too deep and heard screams rising from the depths. Soon after, men began vanishing, their bodies never found. The team's historian, Thomas Vance, connects the legend to local folklore. The town's elders spoke of the Wailing Core, an entity buried deep in the mines that feasted on sorrow and fear. According to records, the mine was shut down not due to instability, but because of something far worse. As they continue deeper, the oppressive atmosphere intensifies, and the whispering grows louder. First signs of horror. The first night in the mines proves unsettling. Jonas, one of the crew members, wakes screaming, claiming he saw figures watching him from the tunnel's darkness. The others dismiss it as a nightmare, but his terror is palpable. The next day, their equipment begins to malfunction. Flashlights flicker, radio signals distort, and static interference disrupts their communication. Jonas vanishes for hours, only to be found staring blankly at the stone wall, whispering incoherent phrases. When Dr. Grayson shakes him, he mumbles, "It sees us. It knows we're here." The others are unnerved, and tensions rise as they debate whether to turn back. The wailing begins. A low, mournful wail begins to echo through the tunnels. At first, they dismiss it as shifting rock formations, but as the sound becomes more human-like, unease grips them. The wailing carries a strange effect. Some members feel sorrowful, while others are paralyzed with fear. Dr. Patel, a scientist specializing in sound frequencies, records the wailing and plays it back. The sound wave analysis reveals something disturbing. Within the wailing, there are distinct voices screaming in agony. The realization that these voices might belong to the missing miners sends chills down their spines. The entity awakens. The team stumbles upon a hidden chamber with ancient symbols carved into the walls. At the center is a deep pit, so dark it seems to swallow the light from their headlamps. The wailing originates from within. Jonas, still shaken, approaches the pit and begins muttering names of people long dead. Then, without warning, he collapses, his face twisted in horror. Carter, another team member, vanishes shortly after. They find his helmet near the pit, but there's no sign of him. Panic sets in as the team realizes they are being hunted. The wailing intensifies, reverberating through their bones. Descent into madness. With their numbers dwindling, paranoia consumes them. Some claim to see figures lurking in the shadows, their hollow eyes reflecting their lantern's glow. Others begin hearing voices whispering their deepest fears. Jonas, in a sudden fit, starts clawing at his own eyes, screaming, "I see it! It's inside me!" before collapsing in a pool of his own blood. Dr. Grayson and the remaining team members try to keep their sanity intact, but the pressure is immense. Their supplies are dwindling and the exit is blocked. They have no choice but to move forward, deeper into the mine. The truth beneath the earth. Dr. Grayson deciphers the markings in the chamber. They tell of an ancient civilization that once lived here, one that worshipped the entity they called the Wailing Core. It was a god of sorrow, an entity that thrived on fear and pain. When the civilization realized what they had unleashed, they sealed it away, sacrificing themselves in the process. The entity, however, was never truly contained. It has been feeding on lost souls for centuries, growing stronger. The mine wasn't just abandoned, it was a prison, and now they have unlocked its door. The final stand. With the realization that they must seal the entity once more, Dr. Grayson and her team devise a desperate plan. They gather explosives, hoping to collapse the chamber and bury the Wailing Core. But as they prepare, the entity fully manifests, a writhing mass of screaming faces, reaching out for them. The team fights against its pull, their minds assaulted by horrifying visions. One by one, they fall, leaving only a handful to carry out the plan. Dr. Patel takes it upon himself to stay behind and manually detonate the charges. Escape and sacrifice. As the charges detonate, the chamber begins to collapse. Dr. Grayson and the few remaining survivors race toward the tunnel's end. The wailing becomes deafening, and for a moment, it seems as if the entity will consume them. But then, silence. Dust and debris fill the air, and the mine seals itself once more. Dr. Grayson looks back one final time, knowing that they have only delayed the inevitable. The entity may be buried, but it is not gone. The wailing never ends. Months later, Dr. Grayson tries to return to normal life, but she is haunted by nightmares. Then, one quiet evening, as she sits alone in her apartment, she hears it again. The same mournful wail, distant yet drawing closer. She realizes with horror that the Wailing Core was never truly buried. It has followed her, and this time, there is nowhere left to run. The Wailing Core is a tale of isolation, madness, and an ancient terror buried beneath the earth. It is a story of humanity's hubris in disturbing what should have remained untouched, and the unspeakable horror that awakens when the silence is broken.